Hey guys, it's Lumen, and today I bring you the hottest lead in North America, or what I think is soon to be the hottest lead in North America, Daytona. Now he just recently debuted in the Five Stone Godfest, and yeah, in a nutshell, he's really strong. And he's part of that submarine series, except he's not a submarine, he's a car. But since he's part of that series, he's gonna be really strong, and that's exactly what he is. So now that I have Daytona, I immediately theory crafted Shura 3 build. It wasn't that hard considering how strong he is, but there were definitely some challenges and some things to consider. So it wasn't like all easy peasy, but it's Daytona, so it wasn't that hard either. So yeah, I went and theory crafted the Daytona team, and then I immediately went and ran it. It did cost me some time. It took some time to like level up the cottons and making sure my Narcis was ready and things like that, but I slapped together the team and off we went, and you know what, it worked pretty well. I think it's pretty fast. I'm sure like the vibe I get from Daytona is like he could be the next speedrunning king of Shura 3. Like that's how fast he is. He's fast, he's strong, he's ridiculous. So without further ado, here is the Daytona team. Now I want to talk about Daytona as a card itself. He's really strong, but he definitely has his weaknesses and nuances too. So I want to kind of delve into that, as well as how I built the team in order to fit the requirements of the dungeon, as well as just covering all the mechanics as best as I could. So Daytona himself is a TPA oriented lead, right? He's match like TPAs, that's how you get your damage off. And he is personally really strong. He has a lot of TPAs and he has double 10C. And the thing is, double 10C is already a ridiculous amount of damage, but when you stack TPAs on top of that, spoiler alert, TPAs, I don't like them that much, but playing with Daytona, it's like kind of changed my mind. It's like they're so strong. It's like you can't really deny the power. It's ridiculously busted. So yeah, with that many TPAs plus on top of the double 10C, you're really going to be outputting tons, like metric tons of damage. And of course, he comes with the standard 2-turn orb generation and gemstone spike, and this one's based off TPAs, which is interesting because even though it's hard to equip a lot of TPAs, you can definitely get a ton from base subs like Halloween Card. So it's like if you compare it with Nautilus, right? Nautilus is like you can have subs with a lot of rows, but they aren't like that amazing, right? But the upside is that you can equip a ton of robes, either via like Zella hat, or I think it's like Australis has like 5 wood robes, which is ridiculous. You can equip a lot, and that's one of the advantages that Nautilus has compared to the others, right? Whereas like Royal Oak, you can only equip 3 Ls at most, and it's like the equip doesn't provide anything else. Seawolf, you can't equip a 7C at all, so it's like you're disadvantaged there. Instead, you're forced to rely on Takoyaki to really take advantage of his combo-based style. But TPA subs tend to come with a lot of TPAs if you can fit it in. Like I'm thinking of like Bride Sheet, a lot of TPAs. So yeah, it's like the gemstone is not like the worst. You can definitely augment it, but you also can just work with what you're given in the base, I think. As for his leader skill, in his final form, he has a 70% shield, right? Which is good. It's on the same level as Rosalind in the new Mystic Toka, but overall, Daytona's effective HP is less than that of the submarines. Nautilus, Royal Oak, Seawolf all have 16x effective HP when you pair 2 of them together, right? Daytona, on the other hand, has 11.11 effective HP. Now, that's not bad, pretty good by all standards, but it's nowhere near the innate survivability of the big boys, the big subs, so there's something to note. However, the fact that it is a shield does give some benefits. You can shield yourself against gravities, you don't have to worry about those. In fact, in this dungeon run, I go up against the Hexa, and I'm like, wait, I don't need to save up a shield inherit. I got Dark Hexa, I can just run right through him, and his killer move doesn't kill me at all. So there's benefits there too. It's just less overall effective health, but the composition of that effective health is all shield, and it's very easily activatable because you only need 4 linked light orbs. There's also the added component of the +4 combos as well, which is actually ridiculous when you think about it, because it's like you just match 2 combos, one of them light TPA, or a bunch of light blob basically. All of a sudden you're at 10 combos. So really easy to work with, and I think it's pretty nice in that sense. Other things to note. One thing, this goes into the team building part. He has a lot of damage, but he's no VDP, right? So if you go against a void spawn, you're gonna get voided out because he's hitting cap. Like whatever you do, he's gonna hit cap. Now you can run VDP subs, but if you take a look at how damage math works, VDP and TPA do not work well at all. It's like mixing oil and water. They don't mix. It just doesn't work. So what ends up happening is you opt instead to go for a void active that's quick and reusable in order to take care of those things, because it allows you to tap into Daytona's damage, and it just makes things cleaner because now you don't have to worry about VDP at all. It makes things much more streamlined in a sense for the team. So what do I use to cover the void? I use 2 Hollowing Coffins. Now in Shura 3, one of the things to note is that Shura 3 actually doesn't have that much void involved. Like, yeah, there are some notable VDP spawns, but honestly there's not that many VDP spawns overall in the dungeon. You have floor 8, I think, where you have Parvati and Minerva. Both of them are VDP, which is cool. And then you have the dragons, Ryunsai, Kyodansai, on floor 14. And that's really it. Now, you can run into a VDP shield on floor 12 if you get Fenrir Viz, but that's if you hit them down below like 50% HP and 2 turns have passed. And you know, if you can't kill them in 2 turns and you want to avoid the VDP shield, guess what? You can just light tap them twice and you'll be just fine. So, oh, by the way, if you're above like a certain HP threshold, I think it's like above 80% HP, he puts a combo shield, I think. And that's pretty negligible because you're matching so many combos with the leader skill and just the board itself. So it's like a non-factor. But if you do get the VDP shield, all of a sudden that becomes pretty annoying. So, you know, either 2-shot Viz or light tap them twice so that you can get past that moveset and then kill him. Okay, so yeah, H Cotton is my VDP option. Now I have 2 of her because her active is a little slow, so it is nice, but as I mentioned, there's not that much VDP, so it's like, okay, what am I going to use a Cotton Sword then? Because it seems like the active is a little redundant. Why do I need 2? H Cotton is also a brilliant damage stick. He's amazing. Lots of TPAs to really amp up that gemstone spike, and she has a Tensi of her own. So, you know, she's a great option. And, you know, the Void active is great, and so she becomes like a best in slot option. Now, just because you can't use that Void active doesn't mean she's useless. Instead, I use her to hold my inherits. I don't need her in the early dungeon, so one of them holds the Fujin that I'm gonna need on floor 6, right? The other one holds my shield inherit, which I don't need till the end of the dungeon, and even then I only need it 50% of the time. So what ends up happening is I just wait and I get rid of the shield real quick. Sometimes you get orb trolled, rarely, but it can happen, and just in case, you just hold on to a board which will recharge if you pop the shield early enough. You can also utilize the shield in like emergency positions. Maybe you killed the early floors too early and you're in a bit of a pinch. You can use the shield to save yourself. You can also use the shield to kind of like bypass floor 3 really easily, where, you know, if you're trying to kill off that floor but you're worried about the damage, you can definitely use the shield as well. So it's very flexible. Shield is very nice to use. By no means is it like necessary for anything in the early floors, but it's definitely not something to worry about. Now, you know, Fujin and shield for my H-Cons, and what's nice is that one of them should be available most of the time, right? Like if I have the Fujin one, you know, that one's holding the Fujin early. The shield one, I get rid of it early and I'll have the base H-Con with the shield pretty early on, right? And then later down the line, as I'm charging the shield, the one with the Fujin, is the inherit is not needed anymore, so I use that one on a regular basis to fulfill my Void Pen needs. So overall, pretty good. Pretty nice straight out. Yeah, worked out for me. Now, in terms of the rest of the sub, there's 2 niches that I need to cover. There is the debuff cleanser, right? You got the locks, you got the time debuffs, you got the recovery debuffs. You know, those are very frustrating and annoying to deal with. And for that, I utilize Narcis or Daffodil from the fairies. Now, Narcis is great because once he transforms, his active is a 2-turn cleanse of all locks, all time debuffs, and all recovery buffs. And that's insane because It's so fast and it covers so much. Honestly, I think he's really underrated. Even not on just light teams, but on other teams too. Maybe you're trying to get color coverage for your, I don't know, Royal Oak team or something. I honestly don't know. And instead of running like an L sub or anything, you just run Narcis. It's great. It works out. And what's nice is he's also green, light green in the beginning. So it's like you can get the light green coverage and then he transforms to blue, which takes advantage of Royal Oak's multiplier. So that's kind of an interesting kind of cheese way, I guess. It's an interesting prospect. Now, Royal Oak has a stock of like great subs and he's getting more options in the future. We already have Blue Seal and we're going to get Blue Rex in the future. So it's not like, you know, Royal Oak's hurting, but like, you know, if your box is not that great and you're limited in option and you have a Narcis, he can definitely cover a lot of roles, right? Narcis is also amazing because he has the crosses, right? And I know crosses are like, oh, well, but you're playing TPAs. It's like, why do you care? Well, because the crosses I can use to take out Blind Skyfall. And honestly, it's really convenient. I don't like dealing with blinded orbs, so it's like, if I can get rid of them, that's great. So it turns out it's kind of nice in that sense. It's not like the end of the world if I don't have it. It's not like I'm going to die, I don't think. Especially because all you need to do is link 4 light. It's not that hard, so I'm not going to die without it. But at the same time, it's like, well, if I do have it, that'd be real nice. You get the time debuff and the recovery debuff on floor 2, right? And then what happens is you don't actually need to use him because there are no locks, no time debuffs, no recovery debuffs until floor 8, where you can run into Parvati or Minerva. Minerva's locked Skyfall, which you need an L for. It's a little different, but you can run into one of those, right? So what happens between floor 2 and floor 8? You just don't use them? Not exactly. So the thing is, on floor 7, there's a leader swap, and the leader swap is very annoying, right? So I don't want to deal with that because I probably can't survive, especially if I get swapped into the last sub on my team, Beach Planar, right? I won't live. So what ends up happening here is I inherit an Erica's necklace on Narcis. Yeah, because I need to make them unbindable, because I need skill boost, because I need light OE too to really amp up that damage. But Erica's necklace also comes with a delay, and that's really nice because now I can use that delay and charge it up while Narcis isn't being used from floor 2 to floor 8, and then use it on the leader swap so that I can safely bypass it without any worries. Now, to be granted, I do have to worry a little bit because Narcis is a 2-turn delay and the leader swap lasts for 3 turns. The way I solve this is I delay right away. I take 1 turn to hit the machine down to half, and then autoflow will cut the half into another half. So it's a quarter, right? And then that quarter I can autoflow away, right? So then I take the next turn of delay, right, to just 1C, right? I'll just 1C. And then last but not least, after the 1C, I kill it off with autoflow, and then I tank the preemptive hit the next turn. Now, I'm not sure if I can necessarily do that with Planar. I think I'm just screwed if I have Planar in, but with everything else, I should be pretty okay. If I even save the shield on one of the cottons up to that point, I'd definitely be able to tank it even with Planar, but seems a little excessive, and I do need the active on Minerva and Parvati. So yeah, definitely don't need that shield for sure. So just pray you don't get Planar swap, I guess. And then of course, I've been talking about her, but the last sub on the team is Planar. Planar fulfills that last color coverage. I know Narcis right now looks like he's light blue, but remember his pre-transform is light green, which has, you know, triggered me in the past, but oh well, I can't do much about it anyway, so I just live with it. But he's light green in his base, so that means I'm missing blue, red, and thus I use Beach Planar. Now, there's a couple of reasons why I use Beach Planar. One of the most famous blue-red clerics is Chun-Li from Street Fighter. I don't have her. I didn't trade for her, and I do regret it because Chun-Li is really nice. But at the same time, I have to admit that not having Chun-Li isn't the end of the world. Like, I can definitely, like, do without her. So instead I use Beach Planar. But there's another reason why I use Beach Planar, and it's because Beach Planar innately has a lot of HP. Planar, that's just one of Planar's innate perks, right? And with Daytona, what's nice about him is all the other submarines have HP conditional multipliers, right? Like you have to be wood attribute or water attribute, or you have to be fire attribute, right? And it's very simple, but it is a condition, right? Whereas Daytona is just pure shielding based on matching 4 light orbs. There's no condition that says you have to be a light attribute sub. So Planar gets you can take full advantage of Planar's HP through the shield, which is extremely convenient. So Planar is the cleric of the team, and I know Planar is slow, but to speed things up, what I do is on floor 3 you get Heart Unmatchable, which is pretty deadly and it's rough. On floor 4 you get Awoken Bite. Some teams like to split it up, run 2 clerics, cover both, right? Unmatchable on that and then Awoken Bite on that. Some teams like to run a fast cleric and stall on floor 3 to recharge by the time you get to floor 4. And this team, you know, some teams like this team opt to bull rush floor 3, right? Kill it as fast as you can, and then on floor 4 use 1 cleric active to clear everything. And that's what this team does. Planar is slow. She did get a buff to be faster, so she's not like unbelievably slow, but she is slower, so that is a concern. But by doing the bull rush strat, it definitely helps out. Now of course, because there's a wood unmatchable on floor 6, I do have to camp a little bit on floor 4 and floor 5, but honestly that's not the worst thing in the world, and the unmatchable won't kill me. So Planar is not up by floor 6. I can just use her when she does come up on like floor 7 or floor 8, so it's not the end of the world. Now in terms of assists, I said one of the cottons has a Fujin, one of the cottons has a shield. Fujin is for floor 6, shield is for the endgame boss, Light Hexazion. Narcis has the delay equip with the unbindable skill boost and light OE. Planar holds my delay. That's her role. She holds the delay, and because I won't ever need that delay again, well, I would need it, but you know, Narcis will cover me. Planar uses delay in the beginning to get the Daytonas up, and for that end I use Red Ford. The Red Ford card is amazing, and so that's why I use it. Something else to note, remember I made a point about how Daytona's effective HP is lower than the usual lead. To that end, the rest of the assists are used to bolster the health of the team. So if you pay attention, I have the HP plus badge. I use Inosuke's equip for lots of HP and a Fujin and a skill boost. I use Pop's equip because Pop provides 2 team HP, 3 poison, and a shield all in one package, which is actually really nice. So, you know, Dragon Quest OP. So yeah, Pop definitely really nice. Definitely helps me cover full poison once you pair it up with that Red Ford card. So it helps me cover my resists. And then as for my latents, like my Daytonas, they have HP plus latents. Like they don't need killers because, you know, even the sub attributes is gonna cap. So it's like at that point I'm just gonna run HP latents. So there's that too. And yeah, I know my Planar is running HP latents too. Like I don't need killers. She won't be doing any damage because I'm converting reds and blues away. So yeah, I have HP latents on her too. I think the rest of the equips are just to get the skill boost up because a Red Ford card has a pretty long cooldown, and I wanted to fit in more team HP, but I didn't have the necessary skill boost. Yeah, so it's like I opted to go for skill boost, which is why I'm running techs. Like for example, I said I used Inosuke's equip, the Wild Boar headgear, but I probably would have used the Divine Dog equip, which is JJK's Megumi Fushiguro, right? Which is really nice, by the way. But instead of using the Divine Dog, I had to use the Wild Boar headgear because, well, I needed skill boost, right? And then on Daytona and Narcis, I have skill boost equipped. And then lastly, I'm missing a skill bind resist. So my last equip on the other Daytona is Unbindable SBR TPA, the OG Reach equip. It's kind of interesting. That equip has been really ignored for a while, but now it's back and it's actually pretty nice. So yeah, that's the team build. I guess for replacements, you can go with something like, in terms of Void, you can run with Die, but again, you lose that TPA damage, which is why H Cotton is probably best in slot. Now, Die definitely has a faster active, but like the TPAs are a real game changer. They really amp up the damage and really makes it nice. Like if you look at the team, I'm only running 4 damage sticks, right? And it's really hard to do that well if your damage sticks aren't like the best of the best. And while H Cotton is definitely going to double cap very easily, Die, there's no guarantee of that. So there's that too. In terms of clerics, it's really hard. I mentioned Chun-Li. The thing is, it's rough because if you run double H Cotton, you only have 2 slots left to cover cleric and debuff cleanser. So it's like, you know, you run Narcis as your debuff cleanser, and then you're stuck with the red-blue or blue-red clerics, which is like basically be Planar and Chun-Li. I mean, if you take out an H Cotton, you definitely lose that Void potential, but you get a lot more space. You can split up either the cleric duties, or more likely you're probably going to split up the debuff cleanser. I guess you can run something like Toya from Sacred Relic, who covers unlocks and time buffs on a 1-turn cooldown, and then you can just slot in something for recovery as well. Maybe a Marthis. Marthis might be really strong. I know JP's getting rerun and he got buffed, so definitely strong. Not sure about other options, but yeah, Marthis is someone that comes to mind. So yeah, I mean that's the team. Honestly, it was really clean. The only thing I really needed to discover was how to get past the leader swap, and I just used the Narcis delay. I didn't skill up the necklace originally, but I skilled it up right away once I figured out, oh, I just used this. So yeah, it works out like a charm. Daytona is really strong. I can see the hype. Like honestly, I wasn't a proponent of TPA teams. Like, I just don't like that awakening. I feel like it's inefficient, not great, but it's really simple, it's really strong, and yeah, I mean, honestly, it changed my mind. Daytona is just that strong. Something to note is that Daytona is probably the best personal damage stick out of all of them. Daytona will cap on both sub and main attributes. Seawolf also kind of does that, but there's like no guarantee that he does that, so it's a little hard to gauge. But Daytona definitely does, and he's a 6x5 too. Like with Seawolf, it's like I was running 7x6 to really take advantage, and on 6x5 I don't know if he can really reach those heights. Maybe it can. I didn't really mess around, 6x5, but I don't know. So yeah, that's the team. I mean, Daytona's OP. And I can definitely see why everyone's hyped about him. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. Good luck and have fun.